Alright guys, so yeah, we got our idle character, and this is basically what we have at this point. Let's run it real quick. Um, let's run it real quick. I don't know, yeah, it's probably not in focus. Alright, our character is a little bit hyperactive because the animation speed's a bit messed up, so we're going to take care of that first. Also, I forgot to name the backgrounds in the last video, so first of all, let's give the background a name. I'm going to call it B. Sagath, and I'm going to call the room R. Sagath. Sagath is the character to which the stage actually belongs to. It's Street Fighter stuff, don't worry about it. And then we're going to get our player open, and the first thing that we need to do is get rid of the hyperactive stuff. So we make a create event, and whenever we create this character, this object, this instance of this object, we are going to set its animation speed. So actually, first of all, let's name this specific action, this specific script, set common variables. Always name your stuff. You're going to love that when you're doing the advanced goals. And set our animation speed. And we do that by writing image speed equals 0.25. Now, one thing that is very, very important about this. Your animation speed determines the sub-images, and we're going to manipulate those later on. So you should normally, an animation, when the image speed is set at 1, it will loop through the image like this. Image 0, image 1, image 2, image 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. If you put the value at something else, it will start skipping images. And if the value is lower than 1, it will put images in between. So with a value of 0.25, it will do 0. It will show this. 0.25 will still show that. 0.5 will still show that. 0.75 still show that. And then it will move at 1. And then 125, 150, 175, and so on. So if you put the value at something that doesn't add up to 1, like, you know, like 1.65, it will start overshooting images. And it becomes difficult to keep track of where it is. So just keep that in mind. That's how this works, okay? If you put it at 2, it will go 0. It will skip 1, and it will go to 2. It will never go on 3, it will never go on 1. It'll go from 2 to 0, 2 to 0, okay? So that is how image speed works. For fighting games, this is important because we want to have everything timed perfectly, so I'm telling you right away. If you put different values here, your animation will get messed up and the game might not even work anymore. So you really want to be careful with image speed, okay? Cool. Glad you listened well to me. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to set some flag variables. Now, flag variables are basically booleans. I use that term from back when I worked on my fan Leisure Suit Larry game in college. I used the actual AGI, I think, engine that they used for that game, and they constantly talked about flag variables. There's basically variables that check states, that check the state where the character is in. So we basically want to have this variable that we can turn on whenever a character does something that might conflict with something else. What are things that can conflict with something else? Well, attacking. You can't move while you're doing your attack. So we put attack is 0 from the beginning in our create event. So that variable exists from now on. Walking. When you are walking, you can basically do anything else. So I don't know what... Well, I used it at some point in the final game. So I'll figure it out. Maybe you know. Maybe you're smart. And special. For example, when you're doing a special, you can't jump. So whenever we jumping, we will put this one to 1. And then we can check whenever somebody does the input for the special, remember the arcade stick thing, is he jumping or not? And we don't have to, you know, put some code in there to figure that out. So, alright. So we've got some flag variables, and you know, if you make the full game, you would have a blocking state and a bunch of other states, a crouching state, all that kind of stuff. For the demo that we're going to make, this is all we need. Alright. So what are we going to do next? I think I want to implement the combo first. Simply because the combo requires that control system where you keep track of all the buttons that have been pressed for a while, and I kind of want to use that system for everything else. So everything is in the same system. I kind of just like it that way, I guess. It's up to you guys to see what you do with that, obviously. But yeah, I'll just start doing the combo first. It's probably the most complicated thing in this game anyway. So yeah, let's get the hard part out of the way first. So for a combo, what I basically want is, I'm just gonna combos. For some reason, I say the word combo, but I mean special moves. Combos means that you do, you know, right, right, left bunch kind of thing. Special moves like fireball. So whenever I said combo in the previous sentences, I actually meant special moves. Okay. So set variables for our special moves system. We're not implementing a special combo system in this game. The original Street Fighter didn't really have a combo system built in. You could do combos, but that's something that gamers figured out along the way, and then games actually started being designed for combos. But it didn't have a built-in combo system, as far as I'm aware. I mean, what you could do is you could do a flying kick, then a low kick, and then fireball, and the player couldn't really respond to it. So there was a combo in there, but from what I have heard, that wasn't built in. It was just, you know, it just happened, and good players figured it out. So anyway, screw combos, special moves. So what do we need for that? We need a keylog. We need a variable that's going to log the keys, and I'm just going to use a string for that. So a string variable is just basically letters, and I just want to basically, you know, like when we're moving around, yeah, say we're moving around with WASD, you know, I want to be like W, W, A, 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 S, 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 A, 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 D, 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 W. Well, there's an F in there now, but well, let's say F is an action button. And basically, while the player is pushing these buttons to fight, this keylog gets filled up. And then I want to go like, okay, so on WASD, SD, and then the F button might be the fireball. So then you go look for, okay, is there SDF? SDF, is that in there somewhere? And I want to write a script that does that for us. Right now, we can just do this. Keylog is empty. All right. Now, well, I'm going to open it up a little bit. One of the problems with this is that actually, you know, these things are going to come in every frame. So every frame, like this is 5 frames that he pressed A, and frames are like 30 times a second. That's like, nobody plays Street Fighter that fast. Well, maybe that Evo guy does. But basically what you're looking for, say we are looking for the combination SDF, and this is kind of the input that we have. SSD, SSD, FFSS, something like this. We basically say like, well, this is like 8 frames. That's still all right. I mean, or maybe, yeah, or 6 frames might be better. So let's say 6 frames is okay. So this is 6 frames. So basically what I would like is that there's just an S here, because 6 frames is just one move on the joystick. And this is also 6, so that would be a D. And then we have 6 Fs, so that would be an F. And then you got SDF, and that's easy to detect, because we don't want to have to search for like 6 S's, 4 S's, 3 S's that are all appropriate. We basically want to narrow this down. So the way I've set up the system is that I want to give a certain amount of duplicate letters in there that will count for 1 letter, and this entire long string will be condensed to something like this, and then it's easier for us to just say like, okay, SDF, that's what I'm looking for. All right. So that's how we can do the timing, and then you can say we're going to allow more or less room in between. So I'm going to call this allow dupes, and dupes stand for duplicates. I typically write my variables long. Once you get better at programming, or if you're already a good programmer, probably already doing this, you can make them as short as, you still can see what they are, but you don't have to use full words all the time. So, and I'm going to use allow dupes at 6, because that's what I used in my final version. And I'm also going to use a cutoff point, which is basically this keylog is just going to blow up and will take up a bunch of memory. We don't want that. So I'm going to set a variable. It's cutoff at 24. And once we get 24 characters in there, like, yeah, that's more than enough data to analyze. Let's just narrow it down again. All right, so we basically have a whole bunch of common variables set up. We have flags, and we have enough stuff for a special move system. Cool beans. So, yeah, I think let's look at the next part of special moves in another video.